Sagittarius. A story of signals, silence, and the heart in between. Love is not always a clear yes or no. Sometimes it exists in a hazy gray area, where a single glance can fill you with hope, and a single silence can make you panic. There are relationships that don't begin with a confession, nor with any obvious sign, but with tiny vibrations so subtle that even you aren't sure where they come from. Vibrations that make your heart beat faster just because of one message, that make you smile at the simplest question, that keep you awake late at night wondering whether a silence is something to worry about or not. Welcome back, Sagittarius hearts. Those who love with the strongest instinct, the sharpest intuition, and a heart that knows how to hope even in the most uncertain places, to Zodiac wisdom. Today, Sophia wants to invite you into a story that perhaps you yourself have lived through. The story of a half-real, half-dream relationship, where signals come and go like passing winds, where emotions dance between joy, sadness, hope, anxiety, where the heart burns hot one moment and slides to the bottom the next. This is the story of Anna, a Sagittarius woman standing between two emotional territories, liking someone but unsure what that person truly wants, receiving signals but not knowing whether to trust them, feeling as if she's riding a roller coaster, all because of one message sent or one message not sent. Sophia is not here to give you the answer. We will walk through this story slowly like a scene in slow-motion film, just to understand our own hearts better, not to reach a conclusion. And who knows, in Anna's story you might see yourself. Map 1. Setting and the beginning of a relationship without clear words. Late autumn in New York has a strange kind of cold. The kind that makes you feel both very small and very alive. The wind blows between the high-rises like the sigh of a city that never sleeps. Golden leaves fall slowly on the wet sidewalks, and Anna, 38 years old, stands in the middle of it all wearing her beige coat, like a soft pause in the chaotic symphony of Manhattan. Anna is a typical Sagittarius. Strong, free, always knowing how to pick herself up after every storm. But every strength has its soft side. And her soft side had been worn thin after a 4-year relationship that ended in such silence that she no longer believed in anyone's certainty. At 38, she was no longer looking for love. Or rather, she no longer dared. Yet it's exactly when we stop searching that feelings find us. Quietly, ambiguously, without an opening line. Anna met Ethan on an evening she had gifted herself. A light cocktail at a rooftop bar overlooking the city. She came to watch the lights, not to meet anyone. But Ethan appeared like a small detail that had wandered into a familiar painting. He wasn't the wow kind of striking, but there was something that made you want to look twice. Smiling eyes, a calm in the way he leaned against the railing, holding his glass like someone long acquainted with his own stillness. A strong gust of wind blew past, almost pulling Anna's scarf from her shoulders. Ethan reached out and held it in place, so naturally that it startled her a little. "Wind is crazy tonight," he said, his voice low and soft, as if a simple sentence could touch the air around them. Anna thanked him with just a small smile. Sagittarius don't blush easily, but they do tremble at moments that feel like the right person, right time, right frequency. Ethan didn't walk away immediately. He tilted his head and asked, "You come here often?" "Not really. Just needed a quiet night." "Same," he replied, then fell silent. A silence that wasn't awkward. A silence that said both of them were standing in a safe zone without having to perform anything. When the bartender brought her new cocktail, Ethan pointed at what she ordered. "Old-fashioned? Classic." "Always," she answered. They talked a little more. Nothing deep, nothing philosophical, but there was rhythm. A very subtle rhythm, like the faint sound of a guitar coming from the far end of the bar. And that rhythm was what a Sagittarius heart recognizes most clearly. A matching frequency. Before leaving, he asked for her Instagram. Not her phone number. No invitation to meet. Nothing too forward. But the last thing he said made her heart flutter like wind chimes on a porch. "Hope I see you here again sometime." No promise. No certainty. No rejection. No clarity. Just one sentence enough to plant a very small seed of hope. 2 days later, Ethan messaged her. "Hope your week is going okay." A perfectly ordinary message. Very ordinary. But Anna's heart beat faster than ordinary. She replied. He saw it. He didn't reply right away. Then in the evening he sent another short question, just enough to keep the conversation going. Neither too eager nor too cold. A signal warm enough, but not clear enough. Anna went to bed with a strange feeling. Half joy, half worry, half excitement, half caution. A feeling like standing between two layers of light, unsure whether to step forward or step back. She didn't know what would happen, but it had been a long time since her heart had been awakened by something so small. Map 2. The first sketches of a feeling that still has no name. Ethan's messages never came in floods, never lasted for hours, but they always arrived exactly when Anna's heart had just managed to calm down. A simple question in the morning. Hope you slept well. A short text in the afternoon. The sunset looks nice today. That was all, yet every time her phone lit up, it felt as if someone had gently touched her heartbeat. Sagittarius loves freedom, but they are also incredibly sensitive to signs of care, especially when it comes from someone who makes them feel at ease. And Ethan had a way of being present that put people at peace. Never pushing closer, never pulling away, just staying somewhere in the middle. Enough for Anna's heart to start drawing an emotional curve she couldn't control. One afternoon, while Anna was waiting for the subway at 28th Street, Ethan texted, "Are you near Midtown today? I saw a cafe that looks like your vibe." She read the words "your vibe" over and over, feeling a soft warmth spread from her chest to her stomach. Direct compliments sometimes didn't move her as much as these vague signals did. Signals you can't be sure are sincere, but the way they echo makes the receiver want to believe. They met at the cafe he mentioned. A small corner with golden lights, old wooden tables, the sweet smell of freshly baked cinnamon rolls. Ethan was already sitting there, playing with his hot cup, looking out the window. When Anna walked in, he smiled in a way that wasn't surprise, wasn't just politeness, more like someone quietly happy that what they hoped for actually happened. She sat down, her heart trembling lightly. This time the conversation lasted longer. They talked about music, favorite books, the trips that had changed them. When Anna told him about the hard time after her breakup, Ethan listened in silence, his brows slightly furrowed in a way that made her feel he was truly placing his attention on her story. But the thing that moved her the most was a tiny detail. He asked if she wanted honey in her tea, simply because she had once mentioned that sugar gave her headaches. A small gesture. Too small. But Anna's Sagittarius heart instantly lit it up into a sign of care. That was the first time she thought, maybe he's more thoughtful than I realized. But whether it was genuine thoughtfulness or just good memory, she didn't know. And precisely because she didn't know, her heart started filling in the blanks on its own. When she got home, Anna lay on her bed staring at the ceiling, feeling a complicated current of emotions. Joy, excitement, worry, hope, and also a little fear. Sagittarius is strong, but they fear most losing control of their own heart. And Ethan was making hers run faster than she allowed. She opened their chat again. Ethan didn't text a lot. No emojis. No sweet words. Just simple, light, steady. But that very steady yet uncertain quality made her feel like she was walking between two layers of air, unsure whether to breathe deeply or hold her breath. His last message that day. Today was nice. Talk soon. No promise. No commitment. But enough for Anna to read it 3 times before putting her phone down. The next day, she told her best friend Lily about it. "Do you think he likes me?" Lily shrugged. "Maybe. But maybe not. Guys like this are hard to read." That vague answer only made Anna even more vague. But humans tend to believe what they most want to believe. And a Sagittarius heart is exceptionally good at seeing light even in the dimmest gray. One weekend evening, when the city lit up like a string of galaxies, Anna went for a walk and accidentally ran into Ethan near Union Square. He was standing with friends, but his eyes lingered on her a few seconds longer, long enough for her to feel something different, something meant only for her in that gaze. He walked over. "Anna, hey." Of all places. The way he said it made the coincidence feel meaningful. Sagittarius always reads magic into coincidences, and easily believes the universe is sending signals. They talked for a few minutes. Ethan introduced her to his friends and told a small funny story about their cafe meetup. He didn't have to mention it, but he did, and Anna's heart immediately cried out. He remembers. A tiny detail, but to a heart that's falling, a tiny detail is enough to become major evidence. When they parted, he didn't make plans, but he lightly touched her elbow and said, Text me when you get home, okay? Those words were too simple to be called romantic, yet too gentle to be called ordinary. All that evening, Anna felt like she was floating between two emotional layers, sometimes as happy as a child given candy, sometimes anxious like someone standing at the edge of a cliff, unsure whether to step forward or back. Sometimes her heart lit up because of something Ethan said. Sometimes it went dark because he saw her message but didn't reply right away. That was when a Sagittarius started drawing him. One stroke for the care. One stroke for the look in his eyes. One stroke for the coincidence. One stroke for the tiny longing in his messages. And many, many strokes that came purely from her own imagination. She wasn't in love yet, but she had already begun to hope. And for a Sagittarius, hope is where every story truly begins. Map 3, the moment of truth. When the signals refused to connect into a line. 1 week after the chance encounter at Union Square, Ethan invited Anna to dinner. The message arrived at 4 p.m. Dinner tonight? No plans yet. A very casual, very last minute, very spontaneous invitation. But Anna's heart lit up instantly, like a room suddenly flooded with light at dusk. She took a moment to reply, not to play hard to get, but because she was trying to calm a heartbeat that had started racing too fast. Sure. She typed. One word, yet her entire evening changed color. She chose a soft dress, nothing too special, but enough to make her feel confident. Looking in the mirror, she caught herself smiling at how nervous she was. 38 years old and still fluttering like a 20-year-old when the person she likes texts. Sagittarius may be strong, but their hearts? They stay soft like the first time they ever fell in love, no matter the age. She arrived at the restaurant on time. He did not. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. 20 minutes. Then a message. Running late. Sorry. That was all. No explanation. No be there soon. No estimated time. Anna pulled down her sleeves, trying to soothe herself. It's fine. Maybe traffic. She whispered the lightest possible reasons to her heart so it wouldn't grow heavy. Finally, Ethan walked in almost 40 minutes late. He entered without hurry, gave a small smile, and placed a hand on the back of her chair as if the delay were perfectly normal. Sorry it's been a day, he said, then sat down. It's been a day is the sentence men use when they're tired, a little flustered, but also not thinking too deeply about the person who had to wait. Anna heard it and felt something very small yet very real. She mattered, but not enough to make someone rush. They ordered. Ethan talked about work a little. He checked his phone twice, both times without apologizing. Anna felt something shift, not in Ethan but inside herself. The part of her heart that had been glowing from all the earlier gentle signals suddenly dimmed, like a lamp blown out by a draft. When she told him about a new project she was working on, Ethan listened with half his mind. He nodded, said nice a few times, then changed the subject to a movie he liked. Not bad, but not the deep listening Anna had thought he possessed. She sensed the first misalignment instinctively, the way you feel when the energy is no longer the same as the first day. When dessert arrived, Ethan suddenly asked, very casually, "So, are you seeing anyone?" The question made Anna pause for a beat. Not because of the content but because of the tone. His tone didn't carry the curiosity of someone who really wants to know. It sounded like the ordinary probe of someone checking, not someone wanting to move closer. She answered honestly. He nodded and said nothing more. If a man truly likes you, the question, "Are you seeing anyone?" changes the color of the conversation. With Ethan, the color stayed the same, pale gray, neither warmer nor colder. In that moment, Anna saw clearly what she had been trying to avoid. She liked him. He had some feeling for her too. But some feeling was not intention, not desire, not consistency, not promise. It was just scattered signals, tiny fragments of attention that never connected into a line. And that was when her heart gave a gentle jolt, like the pause at the very top of a roller coaster right before the drop. Nothing had collapsed yet, but she knew she had started to fall. When dinner ended, Ethan stood up first, put on his coat, leaned down and kissed her lightly on the cheek. A kiss too light to be called intimate, but close enough to be called keeping the hope alive. He said, "Let's do this again sometime." Sometime, the vaguest word for hearts that hope easily. That night, walking alone through streets bathed in golden light, Anna felt as if she were standing between two worlds. The world she had imagined, where Ethan was deep, steady, thoughtful, and the real world where he only partially matched that picture. She wasn't in pain, but she saw the pieces that didn't fit. She saw the gaps she had filled herself. She saw the version she had painted of him, and the person walking beside her were not entirely the same. The realization wasn't loud. It was like the soft snap of a dry twig in the forest. You don't see it clearly, but you know, something has changed. Anna understood. This was the first moment her heart started telling her the truth. Map 4. Decoding what is really happening inside a Sagittarius heart. That night when she got home, Anna didn't turn on the lights. She let the darkness cover the apartment like a thin blanket, letting silence fill the space she had spent the whole day trying to keep busy. She set her bag down, unwrapped her scarf, then stood at the window looking out at the city. Golden light from the apartments across the street fell on her face, a face that was holding an emotion hard to name. Not sad, not happy, not disappointed, not hopeful, only clearer. And it was that very clarity that made her heart fall quiet. Anna understood she could no longer keep propping up a big hope with tiny scattered signals. But what confused her wasn't Ethan, it was herself. Why did a single glance, a single message, a single smile make her heart rush so fast that it painted an entire long future by itself? This is the question every Sagittarius has asked themselves at least once in their life. Sagittarius has extremely strong intuition. It is a gift and also a challenge. When they see a spark, they don't just see the spark. They see a whole room flooded with that light. When they feel a small care, they don't just feel the action. They feel a possibility, a potential of what the relationship could become. Sagittarius doesn't fall in love with the present. Sagittarius falls in love with the future of the present. But here's the hard part. When the person they like doesn't offer clarity, a Sagittarius heart will start filling the empty spaces on its own. Anna had done exactly that without realizing. When Ethan wrote "talk soon," she heard, "I'll message soon because I miss you." When he remembered she liked honey in her tea, she took it as thoughtfulness, when it might have only been good memory. When he asked her to text when she got home, she felt protected, when to him it might have been just a gentle courtesy. Sagittarius doesn't overinterpret signals because they're delusional. They do it because their hearts are sensitive to small beautiful things, and they want to believe in the good. They choose light over darkness. They choose hope over closing the door. But sometimes the price of keeping hope is having to compensate for the parts the other person doesn't give. And that is exhausting. Anna sat down on the sofa, hugging a cushion to her chest. She realized she wasn't sad about Ethan. She was sad about her own heart, because it had fallen into the old pattern again. Fluttering too fast, too hard, too much before reality had time to take shape. Sagittarius isn't afraid of loving the wrong person. Sagittarius is only afraid of loving without being loved back. And that fear makes them read every signal as proof, just so the heart won't feel alone. She remembered tonight's conversation. Ethan listened but didn't truly hear, asked but didn't dig deeper, arrived but didn't rush. All light signs of someone who didn't want to lose her, but also didn't want to truly move forward. And this is the emotional zone Sagittarius fears most. The gray zone. Not close. Not far. Can't hold it. Can't let it go. Can't name it. Can't leave it. This zone makes their heart ride a roller coaster. A simple good morning can send them to the sky, and a seen but no reply can drop them to the bottom. Sagittarius loves freedom, but their emotions don't know how to stand still. When they like someone, their heart becomes its own solar system, the other person is the gravity, and they orbit around uncertainty. But tonight, looking back, Anna saw one truth clearly. It wasn't that Ethan didn't like her. It was that Ethan had no intention. And lack of intention is the sharpest kind of ambiguity for a Sagittarius heart. She placed her hand on her chest and realized she was tired. Tired of decoding signals. Tired of reassuring herself. Tired of not knowing where she stood in someone's life. Tired of beauty that stops halfway. And it was exactly that tiredness that brought the most beautiful thing. Awakening. An awakening that is so very Sagittarius. Not bitter, not resentful, not blaming, just clear. Sagittarius doesn't collapse when they see the truth. They simply become quiet and stronger. Anna stood up, walked into the bathroom. Warm water ran down as if trying to wash away the ambiguity that had clung to her skin for weeks. When she wiped her face, she looked at herself in the mirror. Her eyes still beautiful, still bright, still strong as the first day. Only now those eyes had stopped painting. Not because the feeling was gone, but because they had finally seen clearly. Clearly enough to know. Sometimes what makes us tremble isn't the person, but the version we imagine they could become. And that is no one's fault. It's simply how a Sagittarius heart works. Map 5, Conclusion. Letting go of the haze, keeping your own heart. The next morning, Anna woke earlier than usual. Early sunlight slipped into the apartment like a thin silk ribbon across the wooden floor. There was no message from Ethan. There was also no expectation in her chest. Only silence, the rare kind of silence she hadn't felt for weeks. She made herself a cup of tea, leaned against the windowsill, and watched the hurried river of people below. The city kept moving, no matter whose heart was slowing down or racing. In that moment, Anna realized one very simple thing. She wasn't angry at Ethan. She wasn't even disappointed in him. She only needed to be honest with herself. She liked him, yes. He had some feeling for her, yes. But some feeling was not enough for two people to walk in the same direction. Not enough for her heart to feel at peace. Not enough to build something that lasts. And she understood. This wasn't a story about him. This was a story about her heart, when it stands in front of uncertainty. Sagittarius is the sign of freedom, but it is also the sign of brutal honesty with oneself. They can endure pain, but they cannot endure prolonged ambiguity. They can live with an uncomfortable truth, but they cannot live forever in half-real, half-not. Anna knew. If she continued, she would have to live in days of waiting for signals, nights of analyzing every period in a text, mornings wondering whether someone was thinking of her. And that exhaustion would slowly eat away at the most beautiful parts of her. Sagittarius loves fiercely, but they also let go fiercely. Letting go is not because the love has died. Letting go is because they know their heart deserves to be placed somewhere certain. Anna sat down at the table, opened her phone, and looked at their chat. Nothing was wrong in those lines. Nothing was bad. But she saw they were only scattered dots, never connecting into a full sentence. There was nothing to blame. There was also nothing to cling to. She didn't send anything. No announcement. No disappearing act. She simply let everything stay where it belonged. That is the most mature ending a Sagittarius can choose. No drama, no demands, no waves, just returning to herself. That afternoon, Anna left the apartment and walked through Central Park. Golden leaves covered the ground like a warm carpet. She sat on the same old wooden bench she had sat on last year when her heart was shattered by the previous breakup. But this time the feeling was different. Not broken. Not collapsed. Not painful. She only felt light. Light because she had finally seen the truth. Light because she was no longer trying to find the image she wanted inside someone who had never promised it. Light because she understood that sometimes people do like you but not enough to go far with you. Light because she knew her heart could still flutter, but it also knew how to stop on its own. Sagittarius never loses faith in love. They only become wiser with it. Anna smiled. A smile that didn't belong to Ethan. Didn't belong to the haze. Didn't belong to half-hearted hope. That smile belonged to her, to the version of herself who had just learned to distinguish between warmth and intention, between attention and affection, between curiosity and consistency. And in that quiet moment, Anna said to herself without sound, "I choose me." No drama, no declaration, just a gentle, solid truth. And now, Sagittarius who is reading this, Sophia wants to tell you something very soft. You were never wrong for hoping. You were never wrong for trembling. You were never wrong for reading the signs. You are simply someone whose heart is sensitive enough to feel the smallest beautiful things. And sometimes, that sensitive heart just needs a safer place to rest. Not every small care leads to a big story. Not every flutter is destiny. Not every signal is an invitation. But every emotion you went through, however hazy, however up and down, however uncertain, is proof that your heart is still alive, still knows how to love, still dares to expect beauty. And that is always a gift. If you have ever been like Anna, liking someone yet never quite knowing where you stand in their heart, feel free to share your story in the comments below. Who knows, another Sagittarius reading in silence might find themselves in your words.